They're easy in some 20s over suburbs, red as being obvious reported on Vanilla is now. Like, how how's it trying to frame? Says he wants a clear picture of what happened.
Very warm welcome to Army Scale 5858. I am Ahmed Shaka. Following are the latest news headlines which have been reported by American, European, Canadian, Asian, African and Australian news channels and all other news agencies. So please, let's go to the news.
Tonight, close calls in the skies and the summer travel warning ahead of Memorial Day. Weeks after a deadly mid-air crash between a helicopter and a regional jet, 2 more flights had to abandon landings because of a military helicopter nearby. The transportation chief blasting Pentagon leaders tonight. And the ongoing chaos at a major hub airport stacking up hours of delays for inbound flights. The new warning about why this could be a coming attraction across America. Job numbers better than expected, but the economy is shrinking, what the president tells Kristen Welker tonight about the risk of a recession in an exclusive interview. Plus the breaking news, Temu halting packages from China, what it could mean for you. The fiery crash near Yellowstone leaving 7 people dead. What went wrong? Plus, remembering Ruth Buzzy, the legendary comedian who left us in stitches on Laugh-In. And flying by the book, the passengers who filled the pages of a flight attendant's journal and inspired us all.
This is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt. Tonight, the horrific, deadly collision just outside Yellowstone National Park. Multiple people dead tonight. The images coming in, the fiery head-on collision near Yellowstone, a truck crashing into a packed tour van. Smoke and flames across the highway, what we know. Also tonight, 2 passenger jets forced to abort landings at Washington's Reagan National Airport. An Army helicopter deviating from its planned route. And it all comes after that Army Black Hawk collided with a passenger jet crashing into the Potomac, approaching at the same airport. Tonight, the Trump administration's plans for a massive military celebration through the streets of Washington. The Army tonight saying it will mark the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army and coincide with President Trump's 79th birthday. The news of this celebration comes amid the president's new budget tonight, proposing massive cuts to the CDC, Health and Human Services, Education, and Climate. Members of the president's own party sounding the alarm tonight over military spending. The storms this Friday night and right into the weekend, the system moving in that will last right through next week. Millions on alert right now for dangerous storms starting tonight in Washington, Philadelphia, New York, and Boston. Lee Goldberg has the weekend forecast. Tonight, the new Prince Harry interview right here. It is emotional, and what he reveals about his father, King Charles. The bodies found in Bryce Canyon, they fell 380 feet, what authorities are saying about the popular lookout. A groundbreaking singer-songwriter killed in a fire, what authorities are now saying. Tonight, what former First Lady Michelle Obama is now saying about the talk involving her marriage and what she declares. The images tonight from atop the Sistine Chapel, the famous chimney being installed, and what we already know tonight about the secret conclave set to begin to choose the next pope. And tonight here, we remember a beloved comedian from the iconic show, Laugh-In.
Texas Congressman Brandon Gill. Congressman, great to see you today. I mean, the sky is falling refrain that we've heard for the past month. I mean, in the first day or so, yeah, the market was falling. Okay, we get it. But they took that to be permanent. It was never coming back, and Trump was to blame. Your reaction to where we are tonight?
Thanks for having me on. That's exactly what you would expect from the Democrats. It's more fear-mongering. But listen, President Trump ran on tariffs. He ran on bringing jobs and manufacturing back to the United States. And he said, listen, there's going to be some short-term economic disruptions, but let's get through this. Don't panic. In fact, he said something far more profound that I don't think he gets enough credit for, which is do not let short-term market fluctuations dictate long-term economic and industrial policy. We have a serious problem in this country where we have seen jobs and our manufacturing base go overseas. We've seen middle America completely hollowed out. It's been incredibly destructive for our country. We're going to fix this. We're going to get through it. Don't be a panicking. And it's turned out President Trump is being proven right once again, just like this jobs report shows.
Yeah, and I will say that all of the, if you want to say the Liberation Day losses, if you're going to attribute it to Liberation Day, As of today, I believe all those losses have been wiped away. So we're back to where we were before. So again, all the panic for no reason except for, for politics. But Congressman, not everyone is buying this, so watch.
Americans across the political spectrum who are declaring that the president's reckless tariffs hurt workers and families by raising the cost of everyday essentials, devastate the retirement accounts, and paralyze American businesses, large and small.
Well, are you buying this? Like the little guy is being hurt here, Congressman.
No, it's the little guy whose jobs are coming back into the United States. And the key portion to what we just heard there is everyday essentials. Let me ask you, does it make sense for the United States to rely on hostile foreign nations like China for everyday essentials? No, that doesn't make any sense. It's dangerous for our national security. And most Americans can see that. And that's why more Americans trust Republicans and President Trump on economic policy than they trust Democrats.
Well, Congressman, let's just turn to the other big news of the day. President Trump
On this Friday night, in her own words, the woman at the centre of the Hockey Canada sex assault trial testifies what she says happened at a London, Ontario bar, setting the date when Canada's Prime Minister and the American President will meet.
I will fight for the best deal for Canada.
And the federal Conservative leader's plan to regain a seat, putting faces to graves.
This person who is lying here, it feels like family to me.
The volunteers sharing the stories of fallen Canadian soldiers, plus the Canadian mastermind behind the body horror genre.
I guess that's another visit.
David Cronenberg on making movies about death and darkness and why he chose to stay in Canada.
Global National. Reporting tonight, Colleen Christie.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with emotional and important testimony from a London, Ontario courtroom. For the first time, we're hearing from the woman who alleges 5 former World Junior hockey players sexually assaulted her. Alex Formenton, Cal Foote, Michael McLeod, Dylan Dubé, and Carter Hart have each pleaded not guilty. She told the jury how she met some of them at a bar before going to a local hotel. Global Sean O'Shea was in court and has the details and a warning some of them are graphic in nature. Sean.
Colleen, jurors in this high-profile trial finally got to see and hear from the woman making allegations. The female complainant in this sexual assault trial of 5 former members of Canada's 2018 World Junior Hockey Team began testifying on Friday. Her privacy is protected. We can only refer to her as EM. She testified by video link. She was asked about the night of June 18, 2018, when she went with a friend to a bar named Jack's in London. There, she said she met Michael McLeod, but didn't know his name until the next day. He and the other defendants had been given their junior hockey championship rings that day. EM met and danced with McLeod. She testified she'd already consumed 2 coolers beforehand. As the night wore on, she said she was progressively drunk. At Jack's, consuming a vodka, a beer, and 8 Jaeger bomb shots with McLeod and others. Prosecutors showed video from the dance floor where EM said she danced with McLeod and other players. She testified about the players circling her with the music playing. They would move my hand to touch their crotch area, she said, adding she was awkwardly going along with it, feeling it was a bit much, just trying to dance and have fun. Outwardly, it appeared I was all right. There was a part of me thinking it was a lot. Prosecutors say EM went back to McLeod's hotel room. They say she was sexually assaulted there by the 5 defendants. The woman's account of what happened in that room will be central to this trial, according to...
Thanks for joining us. 2 seconds.
Liberté, égalité, actualité.
Good morning and welcome back to the France 24 newsroom. You're watching Daybreak with me, Vedika Bahal. Here's our top stories this hour. Israeli strikes continue across Syria following sectarian violence between pro-Syrian government fighters and the Druze minority. Netanyahu attacked the Druze. Australians head to the ballot box with millions choosing between incumbent Anthony Albanese and Conservative challenger Peter Dutton. The Washington shadow could have repercussions for the vote after Donald Trump's tariffs. That is a blow for Germany's Alternative for Deutschland party, having been reclassified as a right-wing extremist group by the country's intelligence service. The move slammed by Washington.
Up to 5
5 weeks on the campaign trail, Anthony Albanese and Peter Dutton cast their votes as millions of Australians stream into polling centres to decide who will come out on top. Activists demand answers after their aid ship bound for Gaza was attacked by drones. Prince Harry loses his bid to have a taxpayer-funded security team when he's in the UK. And democracy in action as Singaporeans head to the polls. Good afternoon and welcome to ABC News. I'm Catherine Robinson. After a 5-week election... Hello, a very good morning. It's 7 o'clock. Coming up on the show today, in an emotional interview, Prince Harry exposes the breakdown in his and his father's relationship.
And in the Premier League, Manchester City keep up their push for a Champions League place with a narrow win over Wolves.
Saturday, 3rd of May. After losing a legal battle for his security, Prince Harry says he seeks reconciliation with his father, the King.
I don't know how much longer my father has. He won't speak to me because of his security stuff.
We report from Sudan, where drone attacks are intensifying, hitting schools and camps, homing the displaced. After local elections, Reform's Nigel Farage says the era of two-party politics is over, as Kemi Bakernock apologises to Tory councillors. Standing together with Ukraine, UK armed forces are joined by Ukrainian troops to rehearse VE Day commemorations.
And in sport, Kimi Antonelli becomes the first teenager to claim a Formula One pole position ahead of today's sprint race in Miami.
Hello, very good morning. Thanks for joining us here on The Breakfast Show. Prince Harry has described the extent of the breakdown of his relationship with his father in an extraordinarily personal interview with the BBC.
Reconciliation.
There is a lot of control and ability in my father's hands. Ultimately, this thing could be resolved through him. Not necessarily by intervening, but by stepping aside, allowing the experts to do what is necessary. I have had it described to me, once people knew about the facts, that this is a good old-fashioned establishment stitch-up.
Well, he says that the king, his father, won't talk to him. And he adds that he doesn't see a way ever of his family coming to the UK.
Well, it comes as the Court of Appeal rejected his attempt to overturn the ruling on his personal security arrangements.
But will this very public plea make the wounds any easier to heal?
Have replaced, no question, we have replaced the Conservative Party. We are now the opposition. We are now the ones that will take on Keir Starmer.
Big gains for Reform UK in local elections, but it's a sorry state for the Tories after that election bloodbath. Kemi Bakernock pens a grovelling apology in the papers.
Final rehearsals are underway for commemorations to mark 80 years since VE Day, and Ukrainian troops will join the British Armed Forces personnel for the historic parade on Bank Holiday Monday.
Pharmacists are set to hand out weight loss injections on the NHS, so we're asking, should fat jabs be so easily available?
And bad news if you're a hay fever sufferer. Experts are warning of what they're calling a pollen bomb hitting parts of the country. We'll find out where and how best to cope.
He won't go quietly. Kevin De Bruyne might be on his way out of Manchester City, but his winning goal against Wolves last night moved them a step closer to a Champions League place. And in snooker, Ronnie O'Sullivan is out of the World Championships at the Crucible. More later.
The brief hot spell we experienced this week, temperatures take a nosedive this bank holiday weekend, but there'll still be plenty of fine weather to be had. Full details coming up in the forecast soon.
It's just on 7 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Anne Diamond, and this is GB News Breakfast.
is Asia Now.
Good afternoon, I'm Keith Liu. It's 2 p.m. in Singapore. Polls opened 6 hours ago in Singapore's 14th general election. More than 2.7 million people in the country are eligible to cast their ballot as they choose lawmakers to fill 92 of the 97 seats in Parliament. Our reporters are at voting stations and we'll bring you live coverage in just a bit. Polls also underway in Australia's federal election amid voter concerns over rising cost of living. The key contenders are Prime Minister Anthony Albanese's centre-left Labour Party and Peter Dutton's Conservative coalition. And power restored in the Indonesian resort island of Bali after an overnight blackout affected thousands of homes, businesses and resorts. Voting underway across Singapore in the country.
Good evening, I'm Amna Navad. Ops market once again defies expectations despite fears that tariffs could soon spur an economic downturn. President Trump signs an executive order to cut federal funding for PBS and NPR, the legal fight that lies ahead. Plus, as the U.S. extends its military campaign to stop Houthi rebels from attacking ships in the Red Sea, Yemen's Vice Foreign Minister comes to Washington to seek more support for his nation's broader fight.
I came here with a question.
Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Narmeen Sheikh. Israeli strikes on Gaza have killed at least 22 people today. One attack on the Buresh camp killed 9 members of the same family. This comes amid ever more dire warnings of mass starvation and death as Israel's total blockade on Gaza enters its 3rd month. The World Health Organization deplored the mounting crisis, condemning the international community's complicity.
Here is that we are breaking the bodies and the minds of the children of Gaza. We are starving the children of Gaza because if we don't do something about it, we are complicit in what is happening before our very eyes. We are complicit.
From CBS News headquarters in New York, this is the CBS Evening News.
Good evening, I'm John Dickerson. I'm Maurice Dubois. We begin with better than expected news on the economy and a sigh of relief in the stock market.
The Labor Department says the U.S. economy added 177,000 new jobs in April. That's above average, and it's about 40,000 more than a poll of economists had anticipated. The unemployment rate held steady at 4.2%.
All 3 major stock indexes were up today, capping off a winning week. Both the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ have fully recovered their losses since a month ago when President Trump announced his most sweeping round of tariffs.
Despite signs of economic strength, there is still considerable uncertainty over the trade war.
Money Watch correspondent Kelly O'Grady.
The news.
In the quiet town of Cactus, Texas, ICN migrants like Nicole and Eden Omentor are facing a new wave of fear and uncertainty. Both work long hours at JBS meat packing plant, home to 3,700 workers, many of them immigrants. CPP1 has sent out a message to everyone in this program to leave within the next 7 days. If I don't do so, they will deport me, or I will have to pay the fine. I don't commit crimes when I come into this country. The Biden-era immigration parole program allowed hundreds of thousands from Haiti, Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela to enter legally. But recent actions under Donald Trump's renewed crackdown have thrown those protections into question. I don't steal, I pay my bills, I follow all the rules, I respect the laws of this country, but I don't commit any crimes. But they are planning to take away my work permit. People notices, many like Nicole still live in fear of losing their jobs, homes, and goods. The great country is currently in a bad situation. You can't make a decision. You have no choice. You have no idea what you should do. Futures hang in limbo. Deep in Brazil's national forest, a young Amazonian manatee named Bakuri is becoming a symbol of both ecological fragility and hope. Rescued as an orphaned calf, weighing just 10 kilograms, Bakuri is now thriving thanks to a coalition of environmentalists and researchers working tirelessly to restore the species. These cows are orphaned calves. The mother was probably hunted and the calves are very vulnerable without their mother, so they need to be rescued to a rehabilitation program. The fact is that the population has actually decreased so much that today every animal that is hunted has an impact on the population. The Amazonian manatee, once hunted for its hide and now threatened by climate change and illegal poaching, is listed as vulnerable by the IUCN. A very favorable moment for us to start conversation dialogues. There's no better way than doing it like this with children because they're going to be multipliers of this with their parents. Its greatest predator is not a jungle creature but humans. Its rehabilitation has taken years, requiring thousands of bottles of milk and a strict diet of chopped vegetables. The only predator of manatees is human beings, so we need the community to embrace this cause together with us and help take care of this new individual that will be there in its environment. Bakuri's care is shared by 3.
Thank you very much for giving time to Amir Shackle 5858. I am Amir Shackle. Have a good life. Bye-bye.